Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Like we get to say, travelers, this is our favorite part of our show. Me and Ricky could run our mouth all you want, but we know you want to have the guest. But this guest is a reoccurring guest, all right? Hey, you guys saw him in episode, I forgot what episode that is, Rick, if you can look that up. Or, hey, Jay, just drop it, a little clip of it, that old episode. And a lot of people, some people were like, man, they were following your story because like he said, he just blew up on TikTok and didn't really know how he did it, but he did it. So we have JP back today again, and we're gonna dive into a lot of his story. How you doing, JP?
Doing great. Thanks, Scott, for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes. So we're just gonna dive into it, man, because I know you're a busy man. If everybody see that background, that means he's at his office. He's right there in DC, downtown DC. He's at his office. So I saw on TikTok where, who was it? Was it the owner of the Nets, right?
No, he's Steve Ballmer. He's the owner of a basketball team. I want to say that Ballmer
is Clippers.
The Clippers, yeah, owner of the Clippers. And
owner of the Clippers. Go ahead.
He has a fund where it's called the Ballmer Family Fund. They don't tell you all of this also. Just keep that in mind. You have to do the digging to be able to find out exactly what it is. But what he did was basically what everybody does at his level, which is a PR stunt. You go around and you say, listen, I have the Ballmer Family Fund, and the Ballmer Family Fund is going to contribute of a $400 million pot, 30% of that specifically to minority businesses, right, to invest in them. Now, what they don't tell you, or what they did tell you, while he was on the show on Good Morning America, he has another fund, which is Outset Capital. And Outset Capital is supposedly a Black-owned fund that is going to be responsible for delegating that money out. It acts as a funds of funds model, meaning that they take one fund, create another fund to fund something else. In any other situation, I always tell people this, I don't give a crap about the little letters that come after your name. It doesn't make you smart. But in any situation, mean to the uninformed, ill-informed, and unwilling to learn, this sounds like, oh, that's a great idea. But to the informed, willing to learn and educated, or just basically street smart person, it sounds like a 3-card shuffle.
Yeah.
That's all that it is.
Yeah.
So the Outset Capital Fund then takes that, Outset Capital is supposed to then take that fund, that pot of money, and distribute it to other venture capital funds, Black-owned venture capital funds. Those venture capital funds are supposed to then go and find the companies to invest in, right? I called Will right then and there. I was like, okay, no. Because having navigated this for so long, I saw where he was lying. I knew he was lying from the second that he said it. We can debate and assume tax strategy. The part of it that I'm assuming is that this is just a real good tax strategy to avoid paying taxes on $500 million, if not more. That's all that it is. So would you rather get taxed of upwards of 50% on something? Or would you rather hold that money in arrear somewhere, park it for a couple of years, and then repatriate it back in some way, shape, or form? In my opinion, that's what they're doing. Again, that's the assumption. But the most interesting part is I reached out to a lot of these firms and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to figure out what firms it is, because you got to have a master Rolodex. You got to have basically a Rolodex of firms that you're participating with, that they know what the criteria is, where you list it out and you say, okay, if you meet X, Y, Z criteria and we have 1, 2, and 3, we're going to bring those things together and we're going to invest. There's no type of information set that's there. So I emailed Outset Capital. I even spoke with somebody there, and she gave me the information. She said, here's a link. Here are these firms. and you're going to go out and you got to pitch them. And I was like, okay, should I say that you guys sent me? Like, what's the direction? So a part of it was I was acting like I didn't know what I was doing. And another part of it was I was genuinely curious, because I looked at it as, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on TikTok and I'm going to let the world know. I'm going to let other founders know who don't necessarily have an idea of what to do. Hey, here's a spark. Here's an initial roadway. Here's a beachhead where you can go through and you can start to navigate. Because the way I look at it is, if there's a guy around the corner that's ready to beat you up and you're walking down that block, just dilly-dallying down the road, I'd rather let you know, hey, there's trouble coming around the corner, rather than let you get punched in the face the way I did. Yeah. So in all of the emails that I did, what I did with TikTok specifically was I said, okay, I'm going to list out all of these funds. I'm going to send the same message to every single fund. I'm going to find every single key partner of the fund. I'm going to email them directly, submit my information. Out of, I think now the list is up to like 15 people. Out of the 15, I got 3 responses. Out of the 3 responses, only one of them did I actually speak to, and that was by coincidence. I won't mention the name because the guy is like legitimately a great guy. He's actually the managing director of the fund, and I had spoken to him years ago. This was prior to COVID, and just really, really smart guy. I'm actually going to speak to him and tell him about what I'm doing. And if I have his permission, then, I'll actually let you guys know so you guys can have hopefully a dialogue where we can have an actual managing director. He's a black guy of a VC versus and against the entrepreneur who's looking for VC funding. So you get 2 dynamics to be able to understand. But when I emailed him and I emailed his assistant that was also on the line, he said that he had no idea. And I went on private email with him. We were exchanging messages back and forth because I have his cell phone number and everything. And he's like, listen, JP, I don't know. I've heard of Outset Capital, but I have no deal with them. I have no idea. I don't even know why they would list me on their website as a fund, as a company that's doing this.
Funded. Yeah.
Yeah, we have no idea. Like, just to give you the initial breakdown, if you are a VC and Marlon's a VC, right, and Marlon funds you, Ricky, the understanding is, okay, if JP comes to you and says, hey, I have this great idea, right? And let's say there's 100% of the company to be taken, right? Mm-hmm. Out of that 100%, somebody's got to get a percentage. So let's just assume that it's 20%. Yeah. You're going to get a cut of that. And then you bring me to Marlon's fund, he gets a cut. And then we have the master fund that's supposed to fund it and also get a cut. So this is no different from, again, I always tell people, don't confuse it, because when you confuse it, you're trying to lie to somebody or you don't understand it. It's no different from the music business. Or better yet, it's no different from the drug game.
That's all you're saying.
It's no different from the drug game.
Correct.
And I had to say, like, it's not it's one of those things where even with the black VCs, I'm noticing this. They gatekeep. They don't want. It's like me saying, I don't want you to be successful, because if you reach this level of success, you're going to not only reach it, but you're going to surpass me. And if you surpass me, there's potential that, well, it diminishes me in the light that I'm shining right here. But what people don't understand is it's sort of like a lantern. The lantern that you're shining, it's shining directional, only down on the lower class of people. You're not shining up to the people that are above you, which is the problem.
Yes, sir.
And the way I look at it is I'd rather be a star. Star shines light on everything.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes. 360.
360. So the way I look at it is I'm going to lift up the covers, because everything's been getting swept under the rug for too long. And again, people message me and they're like, I can't believe you're doing this. Or why are you doing this? This isn't going to get you funded. And I'm like, this is a win-win no matter what. Because if I get funded, I win. If I don't get funded, somebody else learns and I win.
Yeah.
So either way, I win no matter what.
Yes,
no
sir.
Matter what. So
yes, sir.
I don't think that they really understood that at first, but a large majority of people, like, just off of that, like, almost, I want to say, I couldn't even count it no more. Well over 500 messages came into my inbox. I can't even get through all of them. Like I started responding to some people today via Instagram because they hit me up on IG. I can't even begin to tell you how many messages I have on that. Like the little Instagram thing stopped counting. So there's that.
Wow.
Like there are other founders that message me and they're like, I am going through the same thing, literally the same thing. And I'm of the mindset that they don't want to invest. They say that they do, but they don't really want to. And that's not an opinion. That's a fact. And I can pour the fact out by providing the data. Less than 1% of the capital actually goes to Black-owned founders. You guys can, to your viewers, they can look up the TechCrunch article. From that, let's drill down into that less than 1%. Who's actually doing the funding of them? And who is it that's actually getting the money? If you follow the what I call the nepotism tree, there's usually less than 1 to 2 degrees of separation. It's because their mom, their dad, their brother, or their sister went to school with some Stanford grad whose daddy runs some fund. Uninteresting people, totally and completely. But their claim to fame is they got it right once. But they've never gotten it right ever since, because the numbers show that almost 99 out of 100 investments that they go into fail. So let's think about something here. You're supposed to be this smart, but 99 times out of 100, you're failing. And the people you're investing in, it's compounded, because out of those 100 people, 99 of them are absolute failures. So it's not just like, the one time you got it wrong, that's okay. It's literally 99 different people that are failing in an organization, at an organizational level. So one company might have 10 people, one company might have 5. You're not doing the due diligence that's required. And my question to that then is why? Why? Which also delves into this whole FTX thing.
I'm just about to bring that up.
The whole cryptocurrency craze. Because again, when you look at and you put all the pieces of the puzzles together, you can't tell me that a company like Tiger Global Capital, which is one of the best, or quote, best VC funds and just private equity funds, you can't tell me that they didn't do their due diligence. It's either that they didn't do their due diligence and they knew it was a scam, or they're complete idiots. And either way, it's still just as bad. It's still just as bad. And I tell people that look like us the very same thing. In every organization, I don't care what organization, you could pick one. We'll pick the best and biggest one, Amazon. Over 85% of Amazon's labor force are people of color. That's not
85%.
Over 85% of the people in those warehouses are people of color. Think about it. Let's take New York, for example. Let's take the DMV in New York, for example. Huge urban population centers, huge population centers in general, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
When you see an Amazon driver, I don't care what it is, when you see a UPS driver, what do they look like?
Yeah.
You're right.
What do you think the person sorting all those boxes looks like? What do you think the person packaging all those boxes look like? The vast majority of them, of the labor force, are Black people. This is called people of color, because Puerto Ricans and Dominicans don't seem to think that they're Black, but they are. At the end of the day, it's people of color. So they're building up these organizations to be multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. So at some point in time, I look at it and I say, okay, we're the labor force, we're the liquidity arm, because let's think about something within the Black population, the liquidity or the velocity of money is one of the highest. As soon as I get $10, it's automatically going out.
Correct.
So its velocity, its turnover is massive. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, wait a second, okay, I'm the labor force, I'm the liquidity arm, I'm the culture driver, meaning we make it cool Jack Dorsey literally said, Twitter would never be where it's at if it wasn't for Black people. There's literally a thing called Black Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
A subcategory which underpins the entire ecosystem. The most popular people that you can think of on Instagram, Kim Kardashian, for example. You got to look at it as Kim Kardashian's not the trendsetter. It's the people she's following that are influencing her who look like me and you that are the trendsetters. So when you're looking at that, I'm saying to myself, okay, like I said, we're the liquidity arm, we're the labor force, we make up the culture movement. What's stopping us from controlling the company? You mean we're doing all of these things, but we can't turn the key to drive the car? Something doesn't make sense. I got a call the other day, for example, right? Over $2 billion is being allocated in New York State for construction.
Yep.
I got a call that said, JP, we need you to stand up a construction company. I don't know about when it comes to construction. I know if I got a problem, I call a contractor. God made contractors for a reason. I wasn't built for that. I wasn't built for it. Just not. I outsource it. I don't know nothing about that. But what I do know is how to manage and grow a company, how to put a balance sheet together, how to put a projection together. And that's the biggest thing that is preventing them from working with a lot of minority firms and scaling minority firms. Yeah. So they said, you bring an incredibly important component because you can actually sit in a boardroom with these people. For example, Magic Johnson got a multi-hundred million dollar contract in the construction project that's going on in New York State right now. Magic don't know nothing about construction.
Nope. Nothing.
Barely knows anything about movie theaters, but that doesn't stop him from having one. But you understand what I'm saying? And he said something that was really important. The same amount of energy that it takes to earn $1 million is the same amount of money that it takes to earn $100 million.
Yes,
so
sir.
Which one are you going to try to go for? So at the end of the day, I'm starting up a construction company. Again, it's because they need the face at the end of the day. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because my job afterwards is to say, okay, the door's open for, let's say, you guys to say, hey, come on through. I got the door open. While I can, before they crush my foot, get on through. However you decide.
Yeah.
Because again, to me, I think it's the highlight of sucker. Could you, like, imagine if I invite you to my house. I have this big, beautiful house. You know, it's a half mile in from the driveway. I have staff that's opening the door for you. And you going home to go live in the projects. That don't make no sense. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I want to be able to come to your house, drive a half mile in, have staff wait on me. To me, I think that's stupid. It's a liability. It's a huge liability. But I also think that it's just human behavior, unfortunately, of the society that we live in, where we want to be able to call ourselves or be dominant or be superior to others.
The first. Yeah. They want to hear the first.
Yeah. And in this case, the saddest part, in my opinion, excuse me to be vulgar, we're racing to be the first one that's lynched. And it doesn't make sense. To me, it just doesn't make sense at all whatsoever, because those people will never accept you. They'll never like you. And I just think it's the height of selfishness at the end of the day. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day and I was like, listen, man, because he's telling me why I work so hard and stuff like that. And he was like, yo, you could probably punch that ticket now. And I'm like, yo, I don't think I can, but even if I could, I wouldn't. And I'm not at the level that I want to be at. And he's like, what happens if you don't get there? And I said, maybe I'm not supposed to get there. Maybe it's supposed to be that I don't reach where I'm supposed to, but my son is able to reach where he wants to.
Yeah.
So I think it's that level of selflessness that a lot of people lack, in my opinion. That's just me.
Yeah. So we could go this two-way because we could talk about what just happened with Deion Sanders. I don't know if you're following that with him leaving Jackson State, and it's a double-edged sword because the alumni from those HBCUs don't invest back in the HBCUs, but they want the HBCUs to grow at a rapid rate. And well, let's not go there. Let's talk about the FTX first, right? A lot of people have been following this FTX, but I want to know, how does a guy like that get away with all the, I'm going to bill a board, I'm not going to bill a board. My fund is here. I could transfer fund from this place to that place, and nobody's tracking nothing. I understand he was in the Bahamas, but still there's a financial institution that's involved.
The simple, again, I subscribe to Occam's razor. The simple solution is the solution. It's fraud.
Yes.
It's fraud. Like,
fraud.
Period, the end. Now,
and they knew.
They absolutely knew. There's no doubt in my mind they knew. I want to be clear about something. They knew. To give the viewer an understanding of it. When I have a company and I want to invest, or I want to be invested in, there is something called a due diligence process.
Correct.
Within that due diligence process, the first iteration of this, Ricky, you want to invest in me. Okay? Rick, I'm glad that you want to invest in me. Let's get our lawyers together. Let's sit down. Let's hammer something out.
Yeah.
Two parties now turns to at least 4 or 6. That's 6 people now that have their hands in something.
Yeah.
Correct.
Me and you could be wrong. The other 4 people,
4 people? Yeah.
You're increasing the likelihood, or you're decreasing the likelihood of being wrong, or somebody missing something.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's variation, right? We hammer something out. Let's say that all 6 people miss it. That's fine. Typically, Marlon is an auditor or evaluator. He basically values my company and comes to us both and says, listen, guys, you guys want to do this deal? This is what I believe that it's worth.
Yep.
From there, we try to cut the fat. We give and play. We do the dance. During that process, Marlon has looked at everything. He's looked and seen if I have health insurance. He's looked and seen how much my debt to income ratio is. He's looked and see if I have any collections. He's looked at the company in and out. He's looked at the money coming into the company. He's looked at who is funding the company. He's looked at the balance sheet. He's looked at the profit and loss statement. He's looked at the tax returns. He's looked at the corporate governance. He's looked at the documents that encompass the company. Where is it incorporated at? How many subsidiaries does it have?
Yeah.
Are there any investigations from clients? All of these exhaustive things have gone into it. And I'm just mentioning basic general things.
Yeah.
Even those things that I mentioned have at least 100 different things included in them.
Correct.
And remember how I said, the conversations between me and you, and then we include our lawyers and stuff like that, and it's 6 people. That 6 people has now compounded to almost 25 to 30 people at its minimum. There's something called a Sarbanes-Oxley. Sarbanes-Oxley is a law that when you are investing in a listed company, certified financial documents and statements must be signed off on. You must attest that the dollar that you said that you earned, you actually earned.
Correct.
If you are in violation of Sarbanes-Oxley, do not go to jail. Just like that. I will be surprised if anybody goes to jail.
Yeah. And and in that audit process, they got to see how much money is moving from one company to another. Billion. I'm not talking about $10, people. Audience. We're talking about millions and billions. How much was FTX was what, $20 billion they're worth?
Yep. Now I want you to think about something. You see how you're saying billions? Imagine 1 billion $1 bills, right? It's a lot of money, right?
Yes, sir.
It's the simplest thing. A lot of people like to think that this is complicated. It's not. If I have $1, it's in my bank account. Venmo, let's simplify it.
Yeah.
I Venmo you, Marlon, $1.
Yeah.
There is a record that's
Correct.
there. Ricky can see the record. Okay, it went to Marlon. Marlon then takes that same dollar and sends it to Ricky. Ricky sends it to his cousin. Ricky's cousin sends it. You can follow the money, literally, to see where the money landed.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy all of this. Oh, well, they were dealing in crypto and the wallets and this. Even better, the wallets themselves have identifiers.
Yeah.
They have identifiers. You can find the identifier. You might not be able to find where the money went afterwards, maybe, but you can find the identifier where the final rest of that money went. Period.
Yes,
and for billions of dollars to go through somewhere where it's real estate, for example, that's purchased, that money went somewhere. The land that real estate was purchased for, it went to somebody.
Yes.
Somebody has it. You need to find out who that somebody is. That's not hard to do. So if they say for one single second that they don't, I watched the interview with that guy on CNBC. People, to the uninformed, they'll think that he did a horrible interview. To the informed, willing to learn and educated, 3-card shuffle. That man was perfect. You look at him and you think, oh, this guy, he's not smart. He's not smart. He looks autistic almost.
Yes. That's what they're trying to give it.
We can't send this guy to jail. Everything about his body language, dismissive behavior, he's closed off, he's looking down. And then when he's talking, he won't look back up at you. He'll be like, hey, Marlon. He's looking off to the side. Again, displaying this level. It's all a game. It's all a game. His parents are professors. His parents have worked in the public sector for compliance and due diligence. And I want to be clear. I want to be clear about something, because there's a level, and we all know how, the Alex Joneses of the world, the conspiracy theories. It's not a conspiracy, because it's not a conspiracy theory. This is fact. And I want to be clear about something. Again, the drug game. There are people in jail right now who have never sold a bag of weed, a gram of coke, but they are in jail for the conspiracy to receive or distribute.
Correct.
Just because they have the ability, the knowledge, and the social network, they are guilty too. So you mean to tell me, at its most basic level, this doesn't violate any type of conspiracy laws?
Did they confiscate his spot at that 30 million? They didn't? Wow.
There's no record of confiscation from Department of Justice, nothing. All there is an inquiry and an investigation. He's not in jail.
Wow.
He's not in jail. So these are the things that we have to try to be able to understand, to be able to say to ourselves, okay, this is a high-level elite game that these people are playing. Yeah. And there's nothing that stops us from necessarily playing the same game, but they'll never let us play that game.
Yeah. You're both would be in jail right now. I'd be reading about you, JP.
100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have been able to get to that level.
Yeah, to that level. Correct.
That's the first thing. I wouldn't even be able to get to that level. At its most basic level, again, he looks like a kid who didn't know what he was doing. He's a grown-ass man. He's almost 30 years old.
Correct.
Almost 30 years old. Like, there's nothing you're going to be able to tell me to convince me otherwise. Again, all this is 3-card shuffle. Moving the cards around. Look over here, don't look there. That's all. That's all. Like, that's flat out the end. And I'm just sitting here wondering, when are people going to burn this down? Because that's what it's going to come to. That's literally what it's going to come to. I tell people this all the time. There's never been, it's what's called the Velvet Revolution. There has only been 2 Velvet Revolutions in modern history. Modern history being the last 500 years, where power has succeeded without any violence or bloodshed.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You could check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Marlon, what did I just say earlier, bro?
Yep. That's exactly what we're talking about. And so let's segue into that with this. Ricky and I was speaking in depth today, probably about an hour, about this, about Deion Sanders. But I want you to give your take, and then we can all give our input.
So I think Deion's approach was good, right? I just think the timing was bad. So I don't disagree with where he went. I just disagree with the timing of it.
Correct.
Because what he was doing was upsetting the system, fundamentally upsetting the system.
Yes, sir.
So in my opinion, I think that the timing of it was bad. I think that he should have waited
3 more years.
Yeah. Around that time, make them hurt, make them go through pain, bring up the HBCUs to get to them. Because right now, in my opinion, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna see some of these D1 collegiate schools, these SEC schools, they're gonna go and they're gonna try to hire the Deions of the world, the black talent, right? And I think one of two things is gonna happen. It's gonna put a chokehold on some of these HBCUs again. And it's also gonna do another thing. I think that there's gonna be a level of failure that occurs. And then they're going to say, see, told you we should have never hired Ricky. Ricky could have never coached it. He should have never been here. So I'm afraid that the timing of it is a little bit off, but I'm not opposed to what he did. God bless him. You know, he wants to go to Colorado State University. Go ahead. I don't know if too many black people know about what Colorado is like, yet alone Colorado State University. But
Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, Boulder, Colorado. Yeah,
crime-free.
They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn.
And you're exactly right with the timing, because I was telling Ricky that all of Alabama's top guys have put themselves in the portal because they wanted to go with Deion. If he had stayed at Jackson State, they were gonna force him, Jackson State, to actually pay it up at a Big Five school with the Big Fives, because they're already beating everybody by 20 points in the SWAC. They're to have to, because these guys, they're going to take the best. You know what I'm saying? The timing. Go ahead.
You have to look at it also from a financial incentive standpoint. Wherever people are looking at it only as Deion is getting paid, it's bigger than that. The players with their NIL deals are getting paid.
Yeah,
and you have to look at the funnel source. A lot of these kids are young and impressionable, right? They're going to follow prime time. Like, we remember Deion playing. We remember what he was like. We remember seeing that. Like, people are just getting a small snippet of what Deion used to be like.
Yes, sir. He's infectious.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he's basically gonna divert and choke up the funnel source of where these recruiters can go, where they can get talent. Because at the end of the day, the Miamis of the world, the Floridas, the South Carolinas of the world, where a lot of these players are coming from, the Southern Belt, they are gonna choke up that area, and he's gonna divert all of those resources to his school, because at the end of the day, their NIL deals are going to pay them. I might not make it to the NFL,
but I'm going to NIL.
But I'm going to make this money while I'm in college.
Yes,
sir. At its bare minimum. And then you combine a young man, ego-driven, men even at 40, at our age, like some of us can't even handle fame and fortune. You mean to tell me you're going to tell an 18-year-old kid to be able to handle $150,000, $200,000 endorsement deals, and he's got girls on campus? He's gonna go towards Deion. He's gonna go towards Deion without a doubt. Without a doubt. And you see it, and you're hearing it on ESPN now, where they're talking about this transfer portal and stuff like that, where they're gonna change the rules.
They're gonna change the rules. They already said it. They're gonna have to change the rules. Because now these guys, it's like they have their own careers in their hand.
But here's the thing. Change the rules all you want. It doesn't matter. They don't have the transfer portals in existence for people that are at that level, that are in the collegiate system.
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about the collegiate system because you have to, and it's a business. You're never functioning in the right now in a business. You're always functioning 6 months to a year from now in a business. So I'm really going to be concerned about the junior or senior? No. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about that
the 5-star.
Yeah, the 5-star. I'm concerned about that 6'5". I saw the other day on TikTok a video, 6'5", 280-pound lineman who can run his 40 in 6 seconds. As a 14-year-old. Imagine when he gets his development, his strength, his conditioning up to par. That's the guy that Deion's going for.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to be with Deion. He's going to want to see somebody who looks like him. He's not even going to call him coach. He's going to call him Pop.
Yeah. You're right.
At that point.
You're right.
So, again, I look at it like this. They're going to have to kill Deion. That's the only way.
That's the only way.
That's the only way they're going to stop him. Because you also got to think about it. It's not, Deion has knowledge of the game, but he also has knowledge of business.
Business.
Right? You're going to find other people. You're going to find other players. You're going to find the Terrell Owenses. You're going to find the, what's the former linebacker from Baltimore Ravens?
We just talked about what's his name?
Stop. I'm in Baltimore.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis.
Ray
Ed. You're going to find those guys who have the ability to have the knowledge of the game, and you're going to combine them with somebody who has knowledge of the business also, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that it's a good microcosm to why, I don't want to say all white people, but a select majority of white people are in fear of giving access to people of color, because we will show out. We will go up, whatever the standard is, we will exceed it by any and all means. And I think that you're going to start to highlight, and you're going to start to see that, and you're going to start to see that the Nick Sabans of the world are not as special as that people like to think.
Correct. You get all top recruits.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Everybody's a 5-star on your team.
Yeah. Imagine if I have a Ferrari racing against 85 Civics. Of course. Of course I'm going to win. I have what, 3 staff members per individual, per athlete. Strength and conditioning, food,
nutrition.
Everything is taken care of for them. So imagine that. Come on. Again, I think it's high stake capitalism at work, and you're going to see fully and totally the full weight of it when Deion starts winning.
Yeah,
because
he's going to win.
It's one thing. It's one thing that, they say that, they're in fear of this. It's when he starts winning that they're really going to be scared. That's when you're going to start to see them start grabbing for straws everywhere that they can. That's when you're going to start to see that.
Yeah, I hear it was too soon, but I'm also looking at it from a perspective of it's too soon based off of the goal of what I would want from it, right? Or the bigger picture of what we see as the bigger picture for HBCUs. But I was thinking about it today, and I was like, but what's the bigger picture for Deion? And
money.
Was it too soon for him? You think it's money? I don't know. I don't know.
He even said it's money
or influence.
No, it's money. Yeah. I mean, power corrupts, and power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Does the influence matter? Yeah, sure it does. But the ability to earn that dollar, he even said it on his 60 Minutes interview. He was going to leave. He gave you the prelude. He said he was going to leave.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he deserves that money. Jackson State wasn't paying him the money that he wanted. He knew that.
No. Yeah,
but he was going to go and prove to them, okay, I'm going to go from the gutter, and I'm going to show you guys what I can do from the gutter. And now pay me my money. You're going to see even beyond that. even beyond that, do I think that he'll go on the NFL route?
He said no.
He said no.
I think money talks.
But here's the thing. Why go the NFL route? For what?
Yeah.
For what?
Exactly.
When you can get the same amount of money, if not more, it's more high stakes.
Yeah.
No, in my opinion, I think that Deion, there's duality that exists.
Yeah.
You can have this system where I'm functioning at a high level at the collegiate level, and you can say that I want to be the stepping stone for other players like myself to go and be given opportunities at the NFL or other collegiate levels. So I think that he's going to be good where he's at. I don't think he stays at Colorado. I think he moves. No. I think he moves somewhere else to one of those really prestigious schools and stuff like that. And really takes that program to another level also. I think that it'll go somewhere around that route.
And he's very strategic. I think he's very strategic. I think me and Ricky was saying, you go to a school that's 1-11, there's nowhere but up.
Yeah. It's the question is, how much do you want to win? Do you want to win a little or do you want to win a whole lot?
A lot, yeah.
So either way, it's still winning. He's winning no matter what. He's winning no matter what. And it's, to me, I think it's a beautiful thing. Like, fundamentally, I think it's a beautiful thing. The emotional part of me says somewhat of the same thing as you guys, the timing of it, and what is the impact to HBCUs. I feel as though it has brought them back to the level. There's no allure about it anymore, or I'm going to go to an HBCU. You got to now find, like, those HBCUs now have to step up to the plate, in my opinion. You're not going to replicate Deion. Don't try to look for it. He's one in a million. You need to find another player with the same level of, I guess, glitter and gold and put him in there and put the team to support him, put a good staff around him to make those players want to come back to HBCUs again and say, okay, just because Deion left, it's still good here. It's still good. Come back here. You need to come here. Shit. They literally bought up the school system from South Carolina State University because of Deion in the congressional testimony. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
No, I didn't hear that. No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, man. So the impact that Deion had, the amount of students that were coming back to HBCUs.
Oh, yes. They said they had to put people into hotels.
Yeah, hotels and waiting lists. And what ended up happening was the bigger schools, or the white schools that are, these are state schools, by the way, that are funded, and they're supposed to be funded at equal levels. Those schools started seeing their enrollments drop.
And HBCU
started to rise. And
so much that the infrastructure needs to be changed.
Yeah. And they're saying, wait a second, because the board members of the schools are saying, hey, this is a problem. This is going to affect the bottom line. We need to stop this. Yep. And you know how they positioned it? They made it seem like the HBCU directors were doing something nefarious, and the HBCU directors were somehow not capable of doing what needed to be done in order to manage their schools. And what they're saying is, no, we're doing what we're supposed to. It's just people are coming back to HBCUs. And there's a lead time. There's an infrastructure requirement. We need to have that infrastructure. And oh, by the way, we'd have had the infrastructure. We'd have had everything to take care of them if we were being funded properly. But we're not.
Yeah.
So this is affecting these people's bottom lines. And it's a major, major problem for a lot of these white schools. It's fundamentally a major problem. And they're going to have to reconcile this at some way, shape, or form. And in my opinion, I would love to be able to see it happen. And again, I'm right here in DC, right next to Howard University. I go over there from time to time. And like, it's amazing to be able to see some of the talent that's on there.
Yeah.
That's there. Like, these are literally the people that are going to some of the major tech companies, and you never hear about them. They never get spoken about. They are literally setting trends, guiding how things should go, but it's always a white guy that's taking control or taking credit for it. And it's not going to, I don't agree with things like the Kanyes of the world, but within that level stupidity and craziness, there is a sliver of it that's truth, which is, why is it that it's always us that are doing this, and it's always some white guy at the top who's taking the credit and being told that, oh, he did something amazing? It's not. It's just not. I'm not saying that they don't, but the large proportion and majority of it is us. It's people of color, period. Yeah. That's not in my opinion. It's a fact. It's
always been. It's always been. Yeah.
So the question is, how do we position ourselves, in my opinion, to maintain control? And that's going to be where the difficult part comes into play, because now you're dealing with unseating power. And to unseat power, power does not go quietly into the night, ever or at all.
Yeah, you see with the NBA and the Big Three, what's happening to the Big Three. I don't know if you saw that.
100%.
That the NBA told investors, don't mess with the Big Three.
Yeah. First, they laugh at you. Okay, you've heard the saying.
Yes.
Now they're scared of him. Now they're mad at him.
Yep.
The next phase, what that's going to look like, I don't know. But he's prime for acquisition. Yeah. But what they don't like is something that I said in my video. It's not that they don't believe in you. It's that they do believe in you, but they just don't want it to be you. If this was Michael Tannenbaum who created the Big Three, they'd be propping him up.
Because he said he actually talked to what's his name, Silver, right? And he said to him, hey, we'll give you a percentage, because he knew that there was going to be some contention. Mm-hmm. So he had told him, like, yo, we'll give you a percentage of the Big Three, because yes, we have NBA players, granted they're retired. So that there was no contention. They said no. And like you said, laughed at him, probably like, nah, we're not gonna do this. That's your little thing you're doing over there. You do it. But then when it starts taking off, they go, oh, snap.
It's huge. I want you to think about the nostalgia of the game, right? When I watch these younger players now, and to me, maybe it's because I'm getting old, but they look like babies, right?
Yeah.
I remember the Charles Oakleys of the world, sir, banging in that paint.
Yes, sir.
Like straight up, hardcore, actual basketball.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, every single person, because the game has such a huge demographic in terms of age, that your guy that's at 50 still watches it with the guy that's 18. And they still have a fandom that is equal. And if anything, you can argue successfully that the fandom of the 50-year-old is more important, because he brings liquidity to the game. He brings capital behind him. The ability to purchase jerseys, the ability to purchase tickets and whatnot.
Yeah.
So those people are just as important to keep in your Rolodex. And they see that, hey, we can't give this guy a platform. Can you imagine if this starts getting broadcast on ESPN? Correct. In my opinion, if I'm Ice Cube, I go the guerrilla marketing route. I go to the Instagrammers of the world, the sports, the people who do like the sports clips and highlights and stuff like that. And I get them to start broadcasting. I get them to start doing clips and stuff like that. That'll be huge. At that point in time, you're forced, Barstool Sports, you are forced to start saying, okay, we need to give this guy a platform. Because one thing that's for sure, money is going to follow money. And the Adam Silvers of the world, they don't want him to get there. But at the end of the day, if the top powers, being the broadcasting companies, see a huge opportunity, they're going to put downward. They're going to put downward pressure on Adam Silver and be like, listen, you need to make a deal, because we're losing a whole lot of money potentially by missing out on this. And the last thing that you want to do, and it sucks that he wasn't able to do it, but a guy like Byron Allen, if he was able to purchase weather camera and he starts broadcasting this, it's going to be a problem.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a problem, sir. A major problem. But here's the thing. I think Ice Cube is looking at it the wrong way. I wouldn't be going towards broadcasting on NBC in this case.
Yeah.
The majority of it's handheld. It's mobile.
Yeah.
People are ingesting it through mobile. So I'd look at it.
I'm not going to sit down and watch the TV. I'm not going to sit down on TV and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, what are you fighting for? The demographic on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday? Nah, you still got 5 days out of the week. I'd be fighting for that demographic, without a doubt. I'm fighting for that demographic. So I think that the strategy might be a little bit off, but I think what he's doing is going to be insanely huge. Insanely huge. I said this from when I first started about the big three. I was like, he's going to be a problem. They're going to have to buy him, because if they don't buy him, he's going to be a wrecking ball, and they know it. They know it. And right now,
he was talking about going global. I think one time he was talking about going into Africa, going to all these. He wanted to have big three like in Europe, big three in Africa. He wanted to go all over. And I'm here to see it, man. I'm here to see it.
I mean, you got to ask yourself, and I don't think that most people have really done it. Who owns the NBA?
Oh yeah, Ricky and I just looked at that. The NBA is actually a nonprofit organization.
Who owns it? Who started it? Look that up. Your viewers should look that up. It's a very interesting. Again, for whatever reason, I don't understand how 99% of the labor force is Black, but yet the ownership is 1% white. So why is it that Harry Tannenbaum is the owner and founder of the, again, I'm just using that name, it's not specifically this guy.
Yeah.
But why is it that the ownership structure looks like this? And they're preventing the people who actually are responsible for making the success of the game happen from being owners and having a seat at the table. Nobody's saying that we want to remove you. What we're saying is we want a seat at the table. And if it's true capitalism, cream rises to the top.
Now, all right. Let me play devil's advocate, right? Because the viewers are going to be like, man, these guys are all in sync. They're just all saying the same message. So now for somebody out there, they're saying, okay, we had the ABA, even though the ABA truly wasn't owned Black, but we had the ABA that was supporting the Blacks, and we left there. We had our Negro baseball leagues. We had all these stuff, and then we gave it up in order to join the NBA, the National Baseball League, whatever we joined. Why don't we believe in our stuff, whatever it may be, whatever commodity it may be, to invest in it, to rise it to that top?
Because I think that we underestimate the power of white supremacy. And it's not white supremacy in the sense of all white people. It's the small minority that is incredibly powerful that have driven marketing forces. Think about something. Let's remove the example from basketball.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton is shitty leather that costs maybe $45 to $50 to make. But yet we will pay $800 to $900 for it because it is affiliated with an white Eurocentric, the white guy likes it, or the white guy really covets it, so we covet it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense because, well, when you think about it, when we look at fashion, well, the majority of the fashion is being made by and designed by people of color.
Yes, sir.
They get a lot of their prints, like the dashiki and kente cloth colors and whatnot. All of that is incorporated in fashion now.
Yeah.
The silks, the types of cotton, they look to influence from people of color. Yeah. So the question becomes within ourselves, where we need to look at the mirror and say, why is it that when it's white, it's right, but the second that it's Black, it ain't right? We don't want to be a part of it. Like, we need to have that honest discussion with ourselves. We can't continue to look outwards outside the house. We got to look inside the house on this one. And we sort of have to deconstruct or decolonize that mindset to an extent. Will it be difficult? Yeah.
Very difficult.
But I think that it's also one of those things, like, and I had to get away from the mindset, not everybody is going to make it.
And you know what, too? And Marlon and I, we started doing this and give you guys a little behind the scenes of how we operate some of our stuff to all the travelers out there. We develop websites, we develop apps, we do all these different things. And we can come at a ticket price of, X amount. Like, hey, man, this is how much it costs in the market. You got to pay this amount, right? But when we look at certain businesses and we're like, hey, we know you offer a great service, right? But it doesn't look like you offer a great service. Can we step in and show the world and match your capabilities to the way it looks and present it to the world? Let's partner with you to put you on that platform, right? Now, not everyone is doing that, right? And a lot of times these are these companies that are small businesses that are just getting going. A website is a nice to have in some cases, right? Not the most important thing for them at the time. And they're just trying to get by, have some type of presence. But it's like, hey, well, let's partner with you to get you on the same playing field. I know guys, man, they're producing t-shirts, uniform, they're producing services, HR services, all these different things these people are doing. And I'm like, yo, you're killing the game. But if I compare you to someone else out there and just look on the face value, someone just going back to your point of, oh, this looks better, this looks right, because the pictures on here look like they're a little cleaner, right? Versus on this side, and it's like, oh, nah, they don't know what they're doing over there. And it's like, so where is it in our responsibility? And it's kind of the way Marlon and I are just kind of taking up this mantle. And I don't think we even did it on purpose. It was just more so just out of the nature of who we are. It's like, okay, you know what? How do we help them get to another level? And I'm not saying that I know how to get you to level 99. I can't say that, but I know I can get you a lot higher than where you are, right? So I'm going to take whatever I can. And of course, I can't, I'll work with you in doing that in terms of funding and finance and whatever it may be. But let me help you grow to that next level, because I know I can give you something to get you up another speed without me worrying about you cutting into my game.
Or outshining.
Like to me, and again, I think that it involves a little bit of mindset. Like what you're articulating right now is very much the dilemma of false expectations. There are people's expectations that they have of what they're supposed to get from you, right? And it's really perverse and really weird. If it's a white guy that they're coming for these services for, he tells them the price, he tells them what he's going to do. They're like, oh yeah, sure. But if it's you, the expectation is set at a higher bar.
Yeah.
And at the same time that it's set at a higher bar, the price is set at a lower bar.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level of massive space that's in between there. And at the end of the day, it goes back to we don't value ourselves. So in turn, when somebody that looks like us, we don't value them either. And we're willing to sacrifice incremental gain for long-term pain. I'd rather not pay you and not get better than to not be able to pay somebody who's white or different and be able to get maybe better if I'm lucky. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. I'd much rather pay you, get that incremental gain, and then get to the next level. If you can take me to that next level after that, great. If I find somebody else who can do it, great. It's still a win-win.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me that they still think like this. And what I'm sitting here wondering now is, considering how much information is so readily available, how is it that people are not able to be more educated and more clairvoyant on some of these aspects of life?
Yeah.
The knowledge is there, but we're caught up in what I call mass psychosis, where you are just fundamentally in this shade room, world star hip hop cycle of entertainment.
Correct.
Where we're not looking at the fact that, again, we talked about Deion Sanders, but we also have to talk about the fact that there is a Black woman who just cured cancer.
Didn't hear about it.
With no chemotherapy. A Black woman in her 40s has cured cancer using radio knife therapy, basically lasers throughout the entire body, removing and stripping away cancer. That right there You think Dion's NIL deal or his college deal is something? That's a $1 trillion system that will upset the entire health
pharmaceuticals, equipment,
everything.
It trickles down. Doctors.
Everything. So we're not talking about that. That should be on the front page of every news article. It should be the first headline on TV televised news. She cured cancer. This isn't like some Dr. Sabi or she cured cancer. There's not a person that you or I know of. Out of the three of us, one of us will develop cancer. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. It's the numbers.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that. And you have to ask yourself why. That's not an accident either when you're asking yourself why. It's not a coincidence when you're asking yourself why.
Yeah. Our conversations have to change, bro.
100%.
You know what I noticed? Bring it back to Dion. You know what I noticed what Dion did when he first walked into the room? He made sure that he told us just the way, and we understand this from you and I being in the military. He came in, he said, you will not wear earrings. You won't wear flip-flops to school. You won't wear pajamas to class. You'll keep your pants. You'll open the door for young ladies. You'll say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And you won't. And he put all these expectations so that they changed the perception of what they thought success should be like.
I'm talking to you right now. I'm in a t-shirt. I'm in a pair of windbreakers. But if I'm in a suit, I'm sitting up straight. I'm speaking and acting a certain way. When you wear the uniform, you carry yourself a certain way.
Accordingly. Yep.
So these are all positive things, especially for a group of men who probably and most likely never saw those things.
Correct.
So he's instituting the off-field standards. And it's the off-field standards that are going to bring and elevate the on-field standards. And it's what you do consistently that you'll be able to do consistently well. And if they're carrying this, because again, football practice at the collegiate level, you're dealing with maybe 3 hours of practice. That still leaves you 21 hours minus 8 hours of sleep. You're still almost 12 hours, 14 hours out of the day where you were applying this standard at every given time. So what you do for those 12 hours, you will start to do in your sleep also. When you wake up and get to that practice field, you're still maintaining that high level of standard. You're applying it in what you do, excellence in all you do. You know, being that perfectionist. You don't practice to get it right. You practice until you get it right.
Yeah.
So I think that when you look at that, I don't think that he's doing anything that is some Oprah aha moment. He's just putting in work. That's it.
Work. And JP, don't you hate, you know, it's funny, you say you're in a windbreaker, you're in a t-shirt. Ricky and I experience this all the time because Ricky worked with VCs. Ricky's an engineer, worked with VCs, now CIO and all this kind of different stuff, right? Me, military, also work. Now the work that I'm doing is, I don't want to say what it is, right? Don't you hate when you're in a room, right? And you hear somebody talking about a subject and you know almost that subject inside out. Well, there's a dude, just like you said, with a suit that probably doesn't look like us, that's running his suck, right? And everybody's just like, okay. And you're like, bro, nothing works like what this dude is talking about. Nothing.
I always say this, like one of the things that I never do, and I've been around conversations like that all the time, I never offend or wound the king.
Yeah.
Let him talk. And a lot of the times it's just human behavior. Sometimes people just want to be heard. Let them talk. Because at the end of the day, that same level of talk, when it meets action, it's never consistent and it'll never be applied properly to be able to work. Because you and I both know that the guy's full of shit, whatever he was talking about. So it'll never work. So all it is conversation for the sake of conversation. It's noise. I like to tell staff sometimes, like, you guys are focusing on the noise of a situation rather than the substance. So let people make noise all they want. I focus on the substance.
Man, I love it. Man, we've gone an hour and 8 minutes. But one thing I want to say, I know Rick allowed me to introduce you. I'm gonna allow Rick to wrap it up because he allowed me. He did a but he's the king right now. But no, so and on a lighter note, I want everyone to see this and see that sometimes what you're doing is stupid. I don't know if you're following or watching or seeing this Haitian versus Jamaican thing that's been going on, and it's so dumb. I don't know if you saw.
No.
So right now somebody said something and it was either taken out of context or whatever it was, but now there's this thing on TikTok or in the environment that is kind of Jamaicans against Haitian. Oh, who's better in the Caribbean? And we're back to that, right? And I want to kill all of that because we don't understand. I want to tell people JP's Haitian.
Say America's better.
Yeah. Right. There you go. And then Ricky's American, I'm Jamaican. You know, we sit down and we're all in the same, it's crazy that we're all in the same struggle, all in the same field working, but we want to debate who's the better person in the field.
when it's all the same. It's all the same. It's not by accident that these fights happen. The one thing that I'm hearing about more than anything, because I guess it's from our country, and I say our country because Haiti and Jamaica are no different to me.
No.
Haiti, Jamaica, Barbados, they're no different. The only difference that exists is maybe the language, maybe.
Correct.
But the only structural difference is where the boat stopped.
Correct.
No difference besides that. The one thing that I've been following is the Haiti and Dominican Republic nonsense.
Yeah, that's another one.
Which is the weirdest, most perverse thing. And I highlighted it to say, this is what white supremacy does. White supremacy will have, the fact that Marlon is lighter skinned than me, judging me because I'm darker. Like, like that's a
darker
real
you got
thing.
Here. I gotta hate you, man. You got here. You and Ricky got here.
You like like these are what we're fighting about, and the system banks on the fact that we will fight over these mundane and trivial things amongst ourselves. Again, we see it all the time. There's a reason why rappers never get killed on Park Avenue. They get killed where they live. They get killed by people they know that look like them. There's a reason for that. That's not accidental. And we need to understand that and move beyond the noise of the issue. And it takes two at the end of the day to have an argument. If I'm on some level of stupidity, Marlon needs to learn how to just ignore me and just cast me to the side, because engaging me just fuels the fire.
Correct.
Man, we're gonna end it on that, man. JP, it's a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, man. Same here
with you, man.
Same here to you guys. Same here.
I didn't even talk much. I was just sitting there listening because just getting you in the room and it's giving you a chance to take a break from your work. You can see all the steam that just rolls out. Like, man, this is what I've been working on. This is what I've been thinking about. No, I love it, man. And just travelers and listeners that are here, man. I want you to rewind it. We don't even do rewind anymore, right? Go back to the beginning, replay this, take out a notebook. Leave your comments and your thoughts on some of the topics that we were talking about. We talked about quite a few things here tonight, man. We're all just really just focused around, about us, right? Around us. And I think that probably one of the biggest messages that we just start talking about the end here is, let's focus on you, man. Really, I really just encourage everyone to focus on you, yourself, your family, your legacy you're trying to build up, your people in that, just like really, really focus on that, man. Cut the distraction, cut the noise. A lot of that stuff is not getting us anywhere, and it's always going to be there, right? So yeah, guys, we can go on and on with it, but we really appreciate everyone for stopping and tuning in to this episode this week. And we will see you guys next week at the same time on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Peace.
One love.
Take care, guys.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.